Hello, and welcome back to making a tabletop in 30 days. I'm starting late and later than ever because when I started recording, I noticed it was not picking up my microphone. And then I went back and checked all my videos because I don't really edit these anymore because it's already hard enough to just put them out once a day. If I had to like go through and edit them, just the time alone would make it not feasible. I noticed that the last two videos have no audio. Because for some reason my computer reset what my default in voice input thing is, and I had to manually go and readjust it again, and I just didn't notice. Um, I'm trying to think back what we did in our last two videos. So I think I'm just going to go through a bit today because I'm not feeling very inspired anyway. But I'm just gonna go through real quick and like update on what's going on. Because if someone is watching these, I assume they skipped the two audioless videos, and I kind of need to review my own stuff sometimes, anyways. So I'm just gonna go through real quick. For Valkyrie, we added a bunch of abilities. One big thing we decided on last session was we were gonna have random abilities. Uh, when you level up, you flip a card and you gain the ability indicated by the card value. If you gain an ability you already possess, then it's a free choice. But otherwise, you randomly gain abilities when you level up. Um, that's just how we're gonna do level ups. I'm very fond of that idea. I think it's very interesting in how you cannot tailor your build at the start. But the longer you play, the more customized it can be because you're more likely to get duplicates since you already since you have more abilities, so there are more duplicate spots you can land on. We added a bunch of abilities to the different classes. I won't talk about that for now, because I don't want to go through each and every one of them. But we added a bunch of abilities. Scavenger is the one who's closest to finished. We added a bunch of copycat abilities to it, where you could steal abilities from other classes, or not steal, but like they're a bit from everywhere. I'm quite fond of that idea. I think it's very cool. The lore should be in. We added some basic combat mechanics. They're not here. They're somewhere else. I think they're after traveling. Yeah, just how initiative works and the types of action we're doing. D&D standard actions. It's simple and it has enough like variety use cases. Oh, I need to do reactions in here. We can actually take a quick pause and do reactions right now. uh, Round a a character may perform a reaction. There are no basic reactions available to characters. They are all gained by abilities or items. There we go. Yeah. I was considering changing for equipment, but items is fine. We have this still. Artifacts we've expanded quite a bit. Yeah, randomized spells. And we have added the spells. I forget if that's in a video that has audio. We also added a potions table and some magic items that generate potions. I think that's pretty fun. If you learn what all the colors are through play, you actually know what the potions do, which is like a big thing. But otherwise, you have to just find it out. Here are the spells. Not much to say there. We're not gonna expand that. I think I want it to be a simple system. I don't think we changed anything over here. We haven't been super productive the last few days. We haven't done too much new stuff. We added the combat system, and then we added a few abilities and tweaked some stuff around. The main innovation has been that we've changed how you gain abilities, that they are, well, not how you gain them, but sort of that the fact that they're randomized. Um, that little review took less than I expected because I think there was only 2 episodes that got messed up. And I sort of managed to explain, I think, why I'm doing random and level ups. I talked a lot more about it in its appropriate episode. But I think it kind of just boils down to that it's interesting. It adds replayability. If your character dies and you want to play the same class, you might not get the same abilities. I think that's very interesting. Um, Combat mechanics are, if you've played D&D, it's basically the same system of actions. I think most games will devolve into something similar where you have actions and movement. Some games have interchangeable actions where movement is a standard action instead of being its separate thing. That always gets a little clunky because it encourages non-dynamic combat because you lose damage output if you move, which I don't like as much. Usually this is solved by having things like charge actions, but like freedom of movement is a pretty big thing. I think that's one of the few things in Through the Breach that I don't like, which is if you move, that is an action point you didn't spend on attacking, which gets kind of annoying. There are extremely few ways of getting free movement, but those are usually quite sought after because then you don't have to burn your whole action point. Especially if a character moves slowly, it sucks so bad having to walk in that game. Um, so I'm hoping this will feel a bit more dynamic. My other game has sort of a mixed system where it has separate movement actions, but you can basically transfer action points. So like you could spend both your action and your movement to move further, but otherwise the movement can basically only be spent on movement or to improve your shooting if you don't move. Um, but cover is also very important. So it's very important to get into a good position. I think I've hit a good balance on that game. For this one, I wanted something a little more basic, something that people are already familiar with. It's not a bad thing either. So the system popularized by D&D is quite good. It's used in a lot of games. And you want some sort of interactivity on when it's not your turn, which is reactions. And bonus actions, I think, is just kind of you want some sort of minor things you can do that doesn't take up your whole turn. So having something like that, and bonus action is a good name for it. But we didn't just add it willy-nilly, we actually did spend some time considering it. But ultimately it's like a good simple system. We have a problem that I talked about, I think, last video, where the demon one is kind of clunky because you can randomize into something you can't get. I've made it a free choice here. I'm not sure if I'm happy with that solution because it's a little clumsy, but we are going to leave it there for now. But it also means they have one less ability now, which means I need an ability that is not a number and you can only get through duplication. I think I will just make it an ability you can only take if you have every other ability. For now, I think we're going to try to continue this. Make some more abilities. I think Scion, I have a lot of room to add more abilities, so I'm going to do that now, I think. This is the demon one. I'm going to copy that because it doesn't have this bar. Or like this, it's just a different formatting. I'm going to grab demon and drag it up next to Scion. I could double check that we have demon into demon still. Demon into demon, cool. And we'll rename this to Scion. And I do think we want these tokens on the demon, by the way. I think we actually do. So I'm going to... oh, what's it called? I was about to call it mechanize, which sounds wrong, but make them mechanical. Actually give them rules soon. Not quite yet, though. Oh, sorry. This should be 8. It should be 9. This should be 10. 11, 12, and 13. I could leave that there. Do we want science to interact with the omen tokens then? I want them to be spies and researchers. Currently we have assassination, which plays into the spy. We have okay, let's see. We have foresight. Whenever you succeed on a skill test, you may look at the top card of the deck and place it either on top of the deck. Okay. Some deck manipulation, some more deck manipulation. So we probably don't want more deck manipulation than we already have. We have... That's fine, I guess. Keep forgetting this game doesn't have defense as a thing, so you can actually use it in a sentence. It is a mechanical word that comes in and out of my main game. So it's currently a stat that only NPCs have, to not have them have a like a overly flooded character sheet. 4 is... That's cool. I like that. I don't remember adding that ability, but I like it. Mysterious Ways is nice. Shadow Play. When you make a stealth test, you may spend 10 souls to automatically succeed instead. You may use this as a bonus action during combat to become invisible until the end of your turn. Yes, cool. And the Master of the King giving you spells. So we could have more stealth things, I suppose. You have a skill point dump, so do we want to give them extra skill points? I don't think so. Hmm. But we want more to indicate their sneaky nature. Um, You can fluently speak and write the secret language of the great work. You succeed on leadership tests against other I'm gonna put like a mysterious little quote in here, or a suggestion in here. This may help in unexpected ways. And it's up to whoever GMs to figure out what that is, probably. I like that as a cool thing. It's a sort of fancy thieves' cant or secret language or personalized language, depending on which game you're playing or systems you're familiar with. What else could we add to this? I think I want at least one more sneakiness ability. Hmm. I don't think because we already have improved stealth and we have sneak attack ability. We also have a secret language. Normally I'd have like eavesdropping abilities, but I'm not sure if those would be relevant to have in a standard campaign of this game. Maybe it is. Also tempted to have Gale's ability from um, Baldur's Gate, where you can eat magic items. You can like consume them to get something, like a permanent upgrade to your character. But I think that would be both awful, strong, and broken, all three of them, where it's sometimes awful and will never see any use, and sometimes it's incredibly overpowered. And I think removing magic items or feeling pressured to do so uh, for stat improvements is kind of boring. I think it could lead at least to boring scenarios, so I'm a bit hesitant to add that. Um, we will add instead. I'm gonna give a very powerful ability here. When you begin a journey, flip a card from the top of the deck and keep it. At any point during the journey. When a what are the travel cards called? Mm. I think this is a very cool ability. It gives interesting agency. Hmm. Do we want more card manipulation? I'm not sure. I'm not. I'm not doing much today, and I'm sorry. Especially after the last two episodes being literally awful, since they didn't have any audio. I'll be very careful checking that the audio is actually working for the next 9 episodes of this, just in case someone watches it at some point. I know it doesn't really matter for the challenge, but if someone stumbles across these in a few months and actually cares, it would be nice to have watchable episodes. Um, I still have so many more abilities I have to add to this. They don't have any combat abilities apart from assassination, and I'm not sure I want to give them any. Maybe give them a cool reaction? There we go. I like that a bit more. Your weapon attacks have a minimum damage equal to your magic skill ranks. Or your stealth skill ranks, whichever is higher. So you can only ever go to 5, but it does go to 5. I think that's pretty cool. Hmm. This spacing here looks off. 7 more minutes. Can we figure out the last two? I don't think I want them to interact with dreaming. I kind of want them to have one thing to do with magical items, but the other classes already have that. Mm. 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 And I think that's fitting to have a 13. I might even make all the 13 abilities that, except from for Scavenger, because I kind of like them as they are. Um, we're gonna wrap it up there. We actually have audio in this one. Um, sorry about the last two if you watched this. Shorter episode today, because I started very late. But I also kind of want to wrap it up here. Uh, and sort of refocus for the um, weekend. I've said I'm going to spend an hour a day on these, but I think it's more like up to an hour. As long as work gets done, I don't think it's as important the time spent. And I was going to work for an hour, but I ended up spending it going through my videos, making sure the audio is working, and trying to figure out what went wrong there. So much shorter video today. Might do a longer video tomorrow. I think I'll give myself. This video is 35 minutes, so I'm not gonna give myself a half an hour, but I'll give myself a little wiggle room if I want to spend some extra. I've figured out how to do hex grids, so I think we're gonna do that tomorrow. If you're up for that, the video comes out on the 22nd. Thank you for watching.